Every electrical system in the world has a number attached to it. A number between 0 and 1. It never goes above 1. It cannot go above 1. And most people who work with electricity every day have never truly understood why. This number is called the power factor. Large factories are fined thousands of dollars every month because their power factor is too low. Utility companies charge penalty fees specifically to recover the cost of supplying power to loads with poor power factor. And the penalty gets larger the further the number falls below 1. Yet power factor 1 does not mean 100% efficiency in the way most people think. It means something far more specific and far more interesting. In this video, we are going to answer one question completely. Why can the power factor never be greater than 1? By the end, you will understand exactly what power factor measures. Why the number 1 is the absolute physical limit. What happens when it falls below 1 and how engineers push it back toward 1 in large industrial installations. Let us begin. Most people hear the definition of power factor and think they understand it. Power factor is the ratio of real power to apparent power. Memorized. Done. But this definition tells you almost nothing about what power factor is actually measuring at a physical level. So let us start from the beginning. When a generator supplies a load, it pushes voltage and current through the circuit simultaneously. In a perfect resistive load like a simple electric heater, the voltage and current rise and fall at exactly the same moment. When voltage is at its peak, current is also at its peak. When voltage crosses 0, current also crosses 0. They move in perfect synchrony. In such a condition, every joule of energy pushed into the load by the voltage is absorbed and converted to heat by the current at that exact moment. The energy transfer is continuous and complete. Every electron that moves does useful work. Nothing is wasted. This is what power factor 1 means physically. Voltage and current are perfectly synchronized, and every unit of energy supplied does useful work at the moment it is supplied. Now here is the key question. What would a power factor greater than 1 actually mean physically? It would mean that the load is returning more energy to the source than the source is supplying. The load would be generating power rather than consuming it. For this reason, power factor greater than 1 would require the load to be creating energy from nothing. And the law of conservation of energy makes this impossible in any passive electrical load. Power factor is the cosine of the phase angle between voltage and current. Cosine of any angle is always between -1 and +1. For passive loads that only consume energy, the phase angle is always between 90 degrees and -90 degrees, and cosine is always between 0 and +1. This is the complete mathematical reason why the power factor cannot exceed 1. But to understand why the phase angle exists at all, we need to understand what happens when current and voltage go out of step with each other. In a pure resistive load, voltage and current are perfectly in phase. But almost no real electrical load is purely resistive. Every motor, every transformer, every fluorescent light ballast, and every inductive coil introduces a property called inductance into the circuit. And inductance fundamentally changes the relationship between voltage and current. Here is what inductance does. When voltage is applied to an inductor, the current does not immediately respond. The magnetic field in the inductor must first build up. This takes time. For this reason, the current lags behind the voltage. On a 60 Hz supply, the voltage completes 60 full cycles every second. In an inductive load, the current peaks slightly after the voltage peak every single cycle. This delay is measured as a phase angle and is typically expressed in degrees. A pure inductor creates a 90-degree phase lag. Real inductive loads like motors create phase angles typically between 20 and 50 degrees, depending on the load. Now here is why this lag is physically destructive to efficiency. During the part of the cycle when voltage is positive and current is still rising from its previous negative value, the voltage is trying to push energy into the load, but the current is actually flowing in the wrong direction. Power equals voltage multiplied by current. If voltage is positive and current is negative at that instant, the power at that moment is negative. Negative power means energy is flowing back from the load to the source. This energy bouncing back and forth between the source and the load does no useful work. It simply occupies cable capacity and forces the generator to supply current that delivers no net energy to the load. This is reactive power. It is real current flowing through real cables producing real heat in real conductors. But it delivers no net energy to the load. And this is exactly what drives power factor below 1. The more inductive a load, the more reactive power it consumes, and the further power factor falls from 1. Now let us look at the power triangle that shows these relationships visually. Every AC electrical load consumes 3 types of power simultaneously: real power, reactive power, and apparent power. Real power measured in kilowatts is the power that does actual useful work. It runs motors, produces heat, and generates light. Reactive power measured in kilovolt amperes is the power that bounces back and forth between the source and the inductive load, doing no net work. Apparent power measured in kilovolt amperes is the total power the supply must provide to deliver both real and reactive power to the load. These 3 quantities form a right-angle triangle. Real power is the horizontal side. Reactive power is the vertical side. Apparent power is the hypotenuse. Power factor is the cosine of the angle between the apparent power hypotenuse and the real power base. Now here is where the ceiling of 1 becomes geometrically obvious. Cosine of any angle in a right triangle is the ratio of the adjacent side to the hypotenuse. The adjacent side is real power. The hypotenuse is apparent power. In any right triangle, the hypotenuse is always equal to or greater than any individual side. It is never shorter. For this reason, real power divided by apparent power is always less than or equal to 1. Exactly equal to 1 only when the triangle collapses completely, because reactive power is 0. When reactive power is 0, there is no triangle. The angle is 0 degrees. Cosine of 0 is exactly 1. Power factor equals exactly 1. For power factor to exceed 1, real power would have to be greater than apparent power. This would mean the horizontal side of the triangle is longer than the hypotenuse. This is geometrically impossible in a right triangle. It is also physically impossible because it would require the load to consume more real power than the total power the supply provides. The geometry of the power triangle and the physics of energy conservation both independently enforce the same limit. Power factor 1 is the ceiling. It cannot be exceeded. Power factor 1 does not mean the installation is 100% efficient, in the sense that no energy is wasted anywhere. Motors still have friction losses. Cables still have resistance losses. Transformers still have core and copper losses. Power factor 1 simply means that every ampere of current flowing through the supply cables is delivering real useful power. None of the current is reactive. None of it is bouncing back and forth doing nothing. Every electron that moves through the supply conductors is doing useful work at the load. This matters enormously for cable sizing, transformer sizing, and generator sizing. Consider a factory drawing 480 kilowatts of real power at a power factor of 0.8. The apparent power is 480 divided by 0.8, which equals 600 kilovolt amperes. The supply cables, the transformer, and the generator must all be sized to carry 600 kilovolt amperes worth of current, even though only 480 kilowatts of useful work is being done. The extra 20% of cable capacity, transformer capacity, and generator capacity is being consumed by reactive current that does nothing useful. At power factor 1, the same 480 kilowatts of real power requires only 480 kilovolt amperes of apparent power. The cables, transformer, and generator can all be 20% smaller. The utility company can serve more customers with the same infrastructure. This is exactly why utility companies charge penalty fees for poor power factor. Every unit of reactive power a factory draws forces the utility to build and maintain larger infrastructure for no additional useful output. And the penalty charged to the factory is the utility recovering that cost. Here is a real number that surprises most engineers when they first see it. A medium-sized manufacturing facility, drawing 2,000 kilowatts of real power at a power factor of 0.75, is drawing 2,667 kilovolt amperes of apparent power. The reactive component is 1,764 kilovolt amperes reactive. Utility companies in most states charge a power factor penalty once power factor drops below 0.9 or 0.95. This penalty is typically applied as a demand charge multiplier on the monthly electricity bill. For the facility above the demand charge on 2,667 kilovolt amperes, instead of 2,000 kilowatts, can add between $8,000 and $25,000 to the monthly electricity bill, depending on the utility rate structure and the severity of the power factor deficit. Over a full year, this is between $96,000 and $300,000 in penalty charges, for a problem that has a practical engineering solution costing a fraction of that amount. This is why power factor correction is one of the first things a competent electrical engineer looks at when auditing an industrial facility. The return on investment for fixing poor power factor is often measured in months, not years. And the fix does not require replacing any motors or redesigning any circuits. It requires adding one specific type of component to the supply. Let us look at exactly what that is. Inductive loads like motors cause current to lag behind voltage. The current peaks after the voltage peak. This lagging current is what creates reactive power and pushes the power factor below 1. The correction requires a component that does the opposite. A component whose current leads the voltage rather than lagging it. That component is a capacitor. In a capacitor, the current leads the voltage by 90 degrees. This is the exact opposite of an inductor where current lags by 90 degrees. When a capacitor is connected in parallel with an inductive motor, the leading current of the capacitor and the lagging current of the motor partially cancel each other at the supply terminals. The supply no longer sees the full reactive current, because the motor and capacitor are exchanging reactive energy locally between themselves, rather than drawing it all the way from the generator through the supply cables. This is the principle of power factor correction. Capacitor banks are installed at the supply bus of a factory or at individual motor control centers. They are sized to provide enough leading reactive current to cancel most of the lagging reactive current from the motors. The goal is typically to raise the power factor from 0.75 or 0.8 up to 0.95 or higher. At 0.95 power factor, the same 2000 kilowatt factory now draws only 2105 kilovolt amperes of apparent power instead of 2667. The supply cables carry less current. The transformer runs cooler. The penalty charge disappears. And the capacitor bank that achieved all of this typically costs between $30,000 and $80,000. For a facility of this size, a cost recovered within 3 to 6 months from penalty savings alone. Automatic power factor correction systems go further. They use a controller that monitors power factor in real time and switches individual capacitor banks in and out of the circuit as the load changes throughout the day. When the factory is running at full production with all motors operating, the controller adds more capacitors. During a night shift with fewer machines running, it removes capacitors to prevent overcorrection. Overcorrection occurs when capacitors provide more leading reactive current than the motors need. In such a condition, the power factor becomes leading rather than lagging, and creates a different set of problems, including voltage rise and resonance. For this reason, the correction target is always slightly below 1 rather than exactly 1. Let us close with the complete answer in 60 seconds. Power factor measures how much of the current flowing through a supply cable is doing useful work at the load. A power factor of 1 means every ampere is doing useful work. A power factor of 0.8 means only 80% of the current is doing useful work. The remaining 20% is reactive current bouncing back and forth between the source and inductive loads, doing nothing useful but occupying cable capacity and heating conductors. Power factor cannot exceed 1 for 2 independent reasons. Geometrically, it is the cosine of the phase angle between voltage and current in a right triangle, and the adjacent side of a right triangle can never exceed the hypotenuse. Physically, it would require the load to return more energy to the source than the source supplies, which violates the conservation of energy. Both the geometry and the physics enforce the same absolute limit. Inductive loads like motors cause current to lag voltage. Capacitors cause current to lead voltage. Connecting capacitor banks in parallel with inductive loads cancels the reactive current locally. This raises the power factor toward 1 and eliminates penalty charges from the utility company. Remember this one thing from this entire video. Power factor is not an efficiency number in the usual sense. It is a synchronization number. It measures how well aligned the current is with the voltage at every instant in the AC cycle. Perfect alignment means power factor 1. Any misalignment means power factor below 1. And 1 is the limit not because of an arbitrary rule, but because perfect synchronization between voltage and current is the maximum possible state. You cannot be more than perfectly aligned. If you are curious to learn why things are the way they are, subscribe to Zentro Code and keep discovering.